Just when I get done recording all the benchmarks for this video, of course my RAM had to come. And I recorded all these benchmarks with my 8 gigabytes of RAM, and now I have to redo them with 16. Oh well. Is 4 cores and 4 threads really enough in 2019? Because 6 cores and 8 cores have really become the norm these days, many people actually kind of tend to forget about quad-core processors. Unless you think of something, say, like your phone or maybe a computer from 2009 or something. Why not just get a Ryzen? They're mainstream, aren't they? Well, I'm Cole from Pixel Tech, and today I'm going to show you how 4 cores and 4 threads is still a viable option in 2019.
So before we get into the actual video, let's talk a bit about the processor we will be reviewing today. The processor we'll be reviewing is the Intel Core i5-4570, first release, and it ran for $200 US. It ran on the 22 nanometer technology with a base clock of 3.2 gigahertz and a turbo to 3.6. And it can support up to 1600 megahertz DDR3, which is what I'll be testing with today. And yes, it also did come with integrated graphics, so that's a really nice thing as well. The thing I will be focusing on today is its multi-threaded performance and its gaming performance. So let's jump right into that, shall we? All tests today will be done on my personal Intel Core i5-4570 system that I built back in 2018. And the games we'll be testing today will range anywhere from Overwatch all the way to Warframe and even some other games like Apex Legends. And if there is any bottleneck today, it should be the processor of all things, because I am using a 1660 Ti in my rig from EVGA along with 16 gigabytes of DDR3 at 1600 megahertz. So hopefully what I'm hoping for here is that we either run into a bottleneck with the CPU or the GPU. I would most likely think it would be the CPU rather than the GPU. Starting off with the Cinebench R20 run, we saw about 1335. And there is a higher score there and a different clock speed, which I'm going to explain at the end of the video, but this is about where I expected this processor to be in Cinebench R20. So starting off with Overwatch, we saw a nice average of around 140, anywhere from 140 to 130 FPS. We only dropped down and dipped down to about 50 FPS once, and that was when there were many enemies on screen and 2 people were using their ultimates at once in one area. Otherwise, well, we were good at around epic settings and we had full view of distance. Most people are going to be triggered that I said view of distance and not field of view, but that's how I like to say it. And honestly, it ran really well. When I was running these games, most of the time the CPU was hovering at around 60 to 70% utilization on the cores, and it only really hit a temperature of around 70 to 72 degrees Celsius ever on the hottest core. So actually really impressive for Overwatch. Moving on to Paladins, this is actually the one that surprised me the most. Paladins with an average of around 140 to 130 FPS, with dips down to 60 FPS at its lowest and 50 at its 0.1% lows. We also saw a strange anomaly where most of the time the game was running at 90 to 100% CPU usage the entire time, but only 50 to 60% usage on the GPU. And that, my friends, is the definition of a bottleneck. Now, it may not just be a bottleneck, it may also be the reason why is because, well, let's just say this game doesn't really have the best engine, and well, from what I looked at on forums, a lot of other people were experiencing the same issues. In fact, even some 6-core CPUs and 8-core CPUs were brought to their knees by this game at max settings, which, by the way, we are running at 1080p Ultra with 200 resolution scale and 8x anti-aliasing, and well, it still had issues. So Paladins is, well, really a mystery to me, but it still ran really well, although with the sacrifice of 100% CPU utilization. Now, just for fun, just because I have a 1660 Ti, I thought I would give a go at ray tracing Minecraft, and wow, was I impressed. I was at 99% GPU utilization, but my CPU surprisingly was staying at around 60 to even 40% usage most of the time. And well, I got an average of around 30 to 40 FPS with 0.1% lows of 12 and 8 FPS. And well, it's ray tracing Minecraft, and I was running it at around medium to high settings with mixed settings, and well, it actually ran way better than I expected. In fact, it overwhelmed my expectations for this PC, and well, my god, does it look beautiful. I mean, wouldn't you agree? This is Minecraft, guys. Like, look how far we've come since 2009. Oh yeah, and if you're interested as well, vanilla Minecraft ran at around 400 to 500 FPS with 1% lows of 136 and 0.1% lows of 90. And this was with a render distance of 26, and we had everything cranked to fancy settings. Now, up till this point, I have been pretty impressed with my little system here, and well, now moving on to Warframe, I'm actually just as impressed as I was to start, knowing that I can run this game at all high settings and have anti-aliasing on 8x. Although disabling stuff like motion blur and shadows and even lighting effects kinda helped because I am limited by CPU guys, and well, honestly, this was probably the least CPU intensive game and the most GPU intensive game of these tests, as I was averaging around 138 FPS, and it was pretty good. And I actually ended up only getting a 0.1% low of 50, and that was when I was loading into the actual area of the game. And well, pretty much the entire time, anywhere frame rates ranged from 80 all the way up to 140 FPS, which ran beautifully. And again, 99% GPU usage, but only around 30 to 50% CPU utilization. This title was immensely impressive on this system. Very happy with this result, and honestly, still really impressed.
So it really might seem that 4 cores and 4 threads actually may be just enough in 2019. Although, I think you'd be better off opting for a 6 core or maybe even an 8 core if your budget is that high. But you can still use 4 cores and 4 threads in 2019, but gaming is, let's just keep it light titles. I'm Cole from Pixel Tech, and I hope you enjoyed my first video. If you did, maybe subscribe to the channel or even like the video. If you didn't, go ahead and tell me in the comments, and I'll reply, and I'll try to go ahead and see what I did.